Today's conversation circles around what's the single biggest obstacle a mom will face when starting to realistically balance life and work. Balancing building a successful business and being a superstar mom is hard. And yet, in today's digital world, it's more common than ever.
The question becomes, how do we successfully grow a business and children at the same time?
Join us for a candid conversation as we share our experiences and insights into marketing and motherhood. I'm Jessie Valle.
And I'm Angela Reeder. Welcome to the Marketing Moms Podcast.
Okay, so I think this question really boils down to mindset. And I hope you agree, Angela.
Definitely.
I feel like mindset it's also a very personal thing, right? Because it's your mindset, it's what you think. So your biggest obstacle is going to come in different forms. But I think for a lot of people, it's probably fear and having that mom guilt. Again, Angela and I kind of just talk about our experiences. And for me, my personal number one fear in anything in life is letting my family down because they are what are, most important to me. So I would say that my biggest obstacle is that mindset that I'm going to let my family down and that fear because I don't want to be a bad mom or a bad business owner and I don't want to waste time and money and energy and all these negative things because it can really become overwhelming. So I would say for myself, I think a lot of moms probably have that mindset obstacle to overcome.
Yeah, and mindset is one of those fancy buzzwords that's kind of become a thing that people like to use on sales pages when they're trying to talk you into buying the thing. But it is a real thing that a lot of moms come up against. And I know for me in my business, as I was starting to grow it, having come from going through a few other things with the MLMs and the drop shipping and all that, my biggest concern was leaving us in a worse place than before I started the business. I was afraid that I was going to start the business and I was going to fail and somehow we were going to end up worse than where we started. And it really held me back in my business for a long time because I was afraid to take risks. I was afraid to take on clients that could have really helped push my business forward. I was afraid to spend the money and the time on trainings and on learning things that could have really helped me bring my business up a level to really help us out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a really great point that you were, because of those fears, afraid to also take what are sometimes necessary risks to move your business forward. Um, I would also say that there are a lot of different ways, and I know that you and I both have different ideas on how we might overcome some of those fears and really master them. But I think perhaps we'll talk about our list of those things in a future episode. But for today, I think let's just at least talk about one thing each on maybe our number one little pep talk on how to overcome some of these fears, just because I know that you and I have experience in overcoming some of those fears. I am not a risk taker, and yet I have had a few instances over the course of having a business and being a mom that I took some what felt like very uncomfortable risks at the time. And you know what? They really paid off. So, and I know that you've done the same. So I would say one thing, and again, it's a whole list of things I would say that helped, but we can talk about those another time. But one thing that really, really, really helped me was in the beginning. It's so funny. So I was still teaching and it was the spring. So the school year was almost over. It was conference time, parent teacher conference time. And I ran into a mom who at the time, the funniest part of all of this is when I ran into her, she didn't even realize that I was her son's teacher. So I just ran into a mom and we were talking, and I have zero idea, like recollection, how the conversation came up. Like that's how serendipitous it felt, is that I just happened to overhear something. And I asked her about her working from home. And at the time, she was a social media manager. And I knew I had done enough research at that point to know what a social media manager was and that it equaled working from home. And I
Right.
was like, listen, love teaching, but I had a kid and I might come back to teaching someday. Spoiler, I'm never going back. But would you like sit down with me and talk to me about this a little bit about more about what you do? And she's like, of course. So we had like a little coffee chat. We sat down, we had coffee, and like she just let me ask her all the questions I had and all the fears. And at the end of the conversation, she was like, listen, I am so confident with your drive and desire that you could replace your entire income in months. Now, at the time, I just wanted to cover my credit card bill. I was not interested in replacing my entire income. So for her to kind of give me that confidence to say like, hey, you could do a lot more than what my personal goal was, that really put me at a lot of ease. So that's a long way of saying I think one of the biggest things you can do is find some sort of mentor who is where you want to be, right? And I'm not even just talking about work per se, like it can be in your home life too, right? So,
Yeah.
an example in your home life would be your mom. I mean, I know that it is my mom for me, and it's not for everyone. So, whoever it is in your life that when you hit an obstacle, who do you call for advice? And for me, it's like, oh, I don't remember how to make this recipe. Let me call my mom. Or, oh, my kid just did this. I don't know how to handle this. Let me call my mom. I call my mom a lot. She's probably really annoyed by me, but my mom is one of my best friends. So it's just trying to, whether it's in business or life for me, and sorry, I've just like completely monopolized the conversation here, Angela. But for me, it's like finding that mentor that can help give you the confidence to overcome those fear obstacles.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think with that fear, learning to process that fear, like it takes a lot. And it, especially if you are someone who naturally worries a lot or is naturally not a risk taker, there's like a lot of work that goes into getting yourself in a place where you're ready to make that jump. And for me, finding business sort of happened a little more naturally as I started with, I don't even remember how I ended up starting drop shipping. I was probably searching ways to make money online at home. But from that, and then doing the blogging, and then the blogging rolled into the social media management, I all of a sudden had access to this community that I didn't know existed of moms that worked from home, and finding people in that space that were where I wanted to be, not necessarily, making $1 million or whatever, but just covering bills and all of this stuff. And I remember one of the people I followed one time saying, it's okay if you just want to make enough money to cover your kid's soccer practice. And for whatever reason, like that really hit at me where I was like, I could do that. Like it seemed so unrealistic to watch the big influencers with the, make six figures in 6 months or whatever. And I was like, there's no way that happens. But then having someone be like, yeah, you can just make enough money to cover your kid's soccer practice made it feel a lot more realistic and a lot more attainable, and really drove me to be like, I'm going to give it a try. And I will never forget the first person that hired me, actually hired me through Upwork, and I'm sure we'll have like a whole conversation about different places to find work. Um, and I like when I got the little notification that they had accepted the contract, I like ran into the living room to my husband. And I was like, I work from home now. Somebody's gonna pay me money to do this. And it was like And then as I grew, having to look back and build on those successes. And if you're someone who's been in business for a little while, even if it's just 6 months, go back. Go back to some of the emails that you used to send, or go back to some of the people you used to follow and look at how far you've grown, because even a few months in business can bring a lot of growth. And that can help kind of firm up that foundation of, okay, I can do this. I'm making progress. I'm moving forward in my business. This is going to get where I need to go. Even though it's hard right now, I'm moving forward and I'm not stagnating and I'm not falling backwards and putting us in that worse situation. Like, I really am doing better. And I think another part of that that goes along with that fear is that mom guilt of, okay, now I'm working on my business, but I don't have as much time for my kids, and feeling kind of pulled in all those different directions. And I know that was a big thing for me, especially if your kids aren't used to you working from home, because they're just like, I get mom's attention all the time whenever I want.
Oh yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And that's what I think makes it even harder working from home is when I actually I'm lucky enough to have an office in my home. And so when I leave the room to go into my office, and whether it's my, 6-year old or whether it's my 2-year old putting up a fight saying they don't want me to leave, like that pulls at my heartstrings like none other.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard. But I try to, reprioritize and think to myself, okay, yes, they're sad about it now, but I'm doing what I feel I need to do to help support the life that,
Yeah.
I can have with them later. And you know what? Sometimes I give in. It's okay to have a crazy schedule. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to spend an extra half hour playing with trucks right now because I can go work later. And that is also the beauty and flexibility of working from home. So, but
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, I'm sitting here and I can hear them in the other room having a ball. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks. I want to be there with them. But I know that what I'm also doing is for them. And so it's just a mindset shift, is really all it is.
Yeah, I think almost every mom I know that started a business to work from home, like, that's why they started it, because they wanted to be able to spend time with their kids, and they wanted to have that flexible schedule. They wanted to be available for their kids. And so it's hard to be like, well, this is why I started my business, but like, I still have to work on my
Yeah.
business. Like, so it's hard. And I don't have an office. My living room, or my office, is in my living room. I have a wall desk in my living room. It's actually the first thing you see when you walk through my front door. But it's right in the middle of the house. So my kids are constantly running past me. Like, there's no hiding away. And, you know, eh, it makes it hard because I'm sitting here and I'm trying to work, but at the same time, I'm hearing my kids. They're asking me for something, and the laundry buzzer is going off, and I know the laundry needs moved, and another kid's asking for a snack, and it's like right in the middle of it, I'm trying to carve out this little space for myself to work on my business and work on client work. And it can really leave you feeling like you're pulled in 800 directions and you have a never ending to do list.
Yeah. But I think the whole point of saying all of that is just like you're not alone. If you're feeling that
Yeah.
way, we feel that way and we've been in business for years. So
Yep.
the distractions and the mindset stuff, while they may change during different seasons of your life and your business, like it's always going to be there. And that's kind of,
Yep.
our MO here is to have a conversation about what this all realistically looks like because those influencers just drive me crazy when they're sipping pina coladas on the beach and it's
Oh
like
gosh.
your every day is not like that, okay?
Yep. Every
And
day doesn't look
you're
like
like,
that.
for the most of us, we get to that point if we decide to take a vacation, if we decide to take a vacation. And even if we decide to take a vacation, the chance of it being on some sunny beach with, a pina colada in my hand is
Yeah.
probably not realistic. I mean,
Yep.
so it's like, no. Angela and I are here to have that realistic conversation of, you know what, my vacation was hiding away 10 minutes in the bathroom to watch a YouTube video that I thought was really funny.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. We did take a family vacation a couple years ago, and it was the first family vacation we'd ever had. My oldest was like 9, and we'd never had a family vacation together. But my last like vacation without the kids was like 5 years ago. It was also the one of the first ones since I had gotten married. And my husband and I spent one night overnight in a hotel like an hour away. Like that was our vacation. Because, our kids were little and all that stuff. But yeah, like vacations don't always look like pina coladas on the beach. Certainly not if you're a mom. Like if I have my kids on a beach, I am way more likely to be in the water, making sure they don't like drown than
Drown.
I am sitting sitting with a pina colada on the beach. And if I had a pina colada, one of my kids would be trying to drink it. So,
No, yeah. Oh my goodness. Side note, I don't even like pina coladas.
Oh, I don't either. I don't like coconut, so
I'm just
that's why I
saying, but
don't like
that's
pina
what
colada.
I mean.
Yeah.
Say what I've seen.
Yeah.
See,
It's
that's the
not
thing
realistic.
is those images make you feel like you want to have a pina colada even when you don't like them. I'm just like,
Right?
what? No, no, no.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. Well, I hope that our little conversation here has been helpful for you today, and we can't wait to talk to you next time.
Thank you for joining us today. We're so honored this is where you chose to spend your time.
If this episode helped you in some way, please share it with another mom who needs to hear it. We're in this together.
And if you're looking to spend even more time with us, visit marketingmomspodcast.com for more episodes, free goodies, and ways to connect.
Don't forget to check out our brand new Marketing Moms book, now available on Amazon.